All right, guys, let's get this party started. So the other day, I think it was like yesterday or the day before that, I saw Asmongold actually like live on Twitch talking about, his response to the whole Hassan thing. I didn't, and I was like, maybe I'll watch it or I'll react to it. And I was like, he did it for an hour and like 40 minutes. There was no way I was going to react to that. There's just no way I was going to react to that. So I didn't. But then it looks like Admin Preach decided to pull up Asmongold's response into here. So we can at least check this out. And it's the Hassan discourse, you guys know, where he's like, oh, the social battery thing, which, yeah, I get it. Again, he's right. You bring your social battery, talking to people on Twitch. You don't have to talk to people for 9 hours. And I know Asmongold's going to talk about how you do. I think he does in there, so we can wait for it then, but you don't. And in fact, I would say that streaming for about 4 or 5 hours a day is so much better. It's a more entertaining stream. People, when they tune in, they know they're going to get something interesting rather than half the time somebody's just sitting around looking for content to do and farting around. I think that legacy streamers, people from the old days, not that long ago, but these legacy streamers from like 10 years ago have this concept that they have to stream all day to be entertaining, but you're better off streaming 4 hours instead of 8 and focusing more on clips and getting your stuff out there and having a more entertaining stream. That's my advice to you. TikTok's the new market. By the way, check out the links in the description. I have a bunch of, I have a nice organization of channels, long form content, which is this channel, medium form content, which is my second YouTube, my YouTube and my TikTok, and then clips all in the description. Multiple platforms. You can subscribe wherever you want, or you don't have to subscribe at all. Let's get started.
Some of our favorite streamers are doubling down on the streaming is socially draining more than regular jobs. Hassan's unhappy.
I canceled on Twitter again, obviously, really? As always.
Oh, fuck.
This time it was for...
Yeah, I watched this the same day that Brittany came in, and she didn't like my... She thought I was being too mean, okay, to Hassan. Which, by the way, some of you guys in the chat were being too mean to Brittany. I like Brittany, all right? You can only bully people that aren't my friends. That's my streamer rule. You understand?
Me saying that I run out of my social battery after 9.5 hours of streaming in a way that like a real job doesn't. And everyone immediately
You never
like
had a real job, dumbass.
I did. I worked in sales.
I had a real job for a month. That's not a real job. Like there's no stressor onto that job. You know what I mean? Yeah, I worked there for a month and it didn't really matter because I'm rich and my uncle let me live with him for free. There's just so many stressors that come along with like an actual job. Being your own boss is like a huge thing. There's also another aspect of it too. When you work for yourself, especially when you're successful, there's like a different relationship that you have, because every day, even if I put a good amount of work into like my content for the day, like for the most part, there is the understanding that like, oh, I'm going to be able to get better. The more work I put in here, 5 years from now, I could be so much bigger. I could be so much better, et cetera, et cetera. When you're working at like McDonald's or a dead end job, like you're not thinking like, oh, if I just keep working hard, I'll get that promotion. Or not. At some jobs you might, but I feel like at a lot of jobs, it's almost like to some extent, it feels like it's almost like a dead end situation, So that's another advantage to working for yourself. It feels like you'll get a payout. At least to me. Maybe it just feels like you'll get a payout.
So it was like a very social job as well. So I know exactly what like people pleasing looks like, and it's like annoying and awful, right?
People pleasing?
So I was making a comparison between like my experience as a salesperson versus my experience as a Twitch streamer.
My experience as a salesperson for a day.
And I was like, it's so soul sucking. Like it's so soul crushing, and I can't socialize after that, and I feel so bad.
Stream less. Just stream less.
Because I was talking about going to March's house. March had a housewarming party, and you guys were invited.
Cool. I was invited, and I didn't remember until yesterday.
I was there, right? And I brought Kaya, and she was being the best girl, but I also felt like I was looking like an asshole to every single person because I was like pouting the whole time. I'm really fucking tired. I take one drink with
it's always
March.
the Hassan show.
I take one drink.
Got him.
And I was like, I have to get out of here. Like I'm so
You
tired.
got
hungover immediately? Yeah, I think it's because like I'm fucking tired after 9.5 hours of streaming, right? They clipped it like
stream less.
30 seconds of it to be like, Hassan, streamer says dumb social.
I liked how even when his explanation still wasn't a satisfying explanation.
The streamer says like, fucking real jobs are way easier than streaming. And it's like, that's not what I'm saying. Here's the fucking context. Nobody gives.
I think a lot of people were just also sensitive because they work a real job, and it's annoying when you have some like rich streamer complaining in a way of comparing them to you. It's like you're not just complaining about like, oh man, my social battery's burnt out, it sucks. You're deciding that you need to compare it to an actual real job that's difficult. Like that's one of the things that makes people like frustrated and sensitive. It's like, dude, like your job is so much easier, and you're gonna compare. If he just said, "Oh, my social battery's drained," nobody would have said anything. But it's because he decided to compare it to like a real job that people were like, oh, this just feels like kind of shitty.
This is shit. There's like hundreds of thousands of fucking likes. Led me to actually delete Twitter. I deleted Twitter from my phone.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really important for me to have Twitter on my phone for my job. Obviously, I need to like constantly be fucking up to date on what the fuck's going on in the world. But
You don't have to actually speak on Twitter. Is that okay?
I feel like at this point, it's just not worth it. It's so like being on Twitter and being extremely online is literally like.
I will say a lot of people talk about how much of a cesspool it is. I keep seeing. I think I saw like a clip on TikTok of like Jinx and Queso talking about it or something. It's the weirdest duo. It was fun though, talking about it. About how it's just like it's gone to shit. I think I saw Mark Cuban talk about how it's gone to shit. Like I guess Elon it's apparently it's like a cesspool trash pit now, you know. So
like being in a room where you're making the dumbest people on the fucking planet yell at you nonstop.
And so you're not using Twitter ever again?
No,
he just took it off his phone.
He'll use it on his PC.
Yeah, because I need to have it for my work. But yeah, I'm not.
This is the next Joe Rogan podcast, guys. Stop fucking criticizing this. This is incredible. Jinx? Did I say it? Is it Jinx? Jinx, the guy? The kid that plays with Sketch? I see them on TikTok on my For You page or whatever. They're funny. I like the two of them. They're funny together. Am I saying the wrong thing? Am I stupid? Am I a dumb, ugly idiot?
I was like looking at it and I was like, fuck.
Was it always like that? Oh, okay. No.
Well, yeah, you were up really late last night.
No, I went to sleep at like 11. I just woke up at 4 and I was like going through Twitter and I was just like, fuck this, dude. Like,
I see him getting mad at Ludwig. Did you see him get mad at Ludwig over making a joke about the real job thing? No, I didn't. But I know he remade his video. Like Ludwig remade his video because he's a coward. I saw that part, which is funny.
What the fuck am I doing?
Good for you.
Yeah,
this is
Good
a
for
positive
you,
step in your mental health.
Yeah,
good for you,
I wish there
man.
was a world where you could just like if I could just like quit and restart as like a VTuber and be somebody totally different. Because I feel like I've ruined so many first impressions and I've just made so many mistakes online that are just like micro.
It's so funny you say that because
Whatever.
like, you
that I just
didn't.
wish I could start over.
You didn't, but you feel that way, and it feels very real to you. But like from where I'm standing, with the amount of like genuine fucking hatred and vitriol that I have, I feel like yours is because you're a woman. That's
no,
it.
I've done.
Oh, I didn't hear that base mark. Ooh, epic feminist.
Some stupid.
No, you
shit.
haven't.
Yeah,
No,
one
shut
time
up.
You haven't, girl.
Okay.
No.
No, 100. Okay, go ahead. I
girl.
literally shut up. Go ahead.
I can't believe you.
Shut up. What are you saying?
You just might not be built for this lifestyle. Doesn't make the job hard. Because
True.
I'm not gonna lie to you, some of you content creators are brittle as and Hassan has got to be the most brittle person.
True, man. Some of these guys. You know, here's the thing. Hassan has inserted himself into that political drama sphere himself. He likes to say that he's just politics. He's political drama. You've inserted yourself in there, man. That's what you decided. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, tough job. And in general, like content creation, like it has a unique stressor of like you getting hatred, especially disproportionate hatred that everybody weighs in on. And that doesn't mean that there's no reasonable criticism. It just gets disproportionate by some people, and then you tend to hone in on the negative intention instead of the positive. Absolutely, but you kind of just have to learn how it goes. And if it's so hard, quit. Do something else. I'll tell you, you know, it's better than a regular job. I'll tell you that.
He's always crying and whining and bitching about the fact that people are. It's so unfair. People just hate me. Shut up. Oh, shut up. You're just brittle. The job's not hard. You're soft.
Actually, I've been preaching. I wasn't saying it was hard. Okay, so stop.
That's not the same thing.
The job's not hard.
This job is not difficult. These guys are just soft. And if you look at their history of what they did as work before, not a single one of them had a truly difficult job. Not one. Hassan wanted to lie about he was in sales. Bruv, you did that for like a couple months.
That's really not life. That's not job experience. A couple months is not job experience, especially when you don't have to think about how like you could be fucked if you lose your job. That's one of the shittiest parts is going to work in a job that like kicks your ass and like takes advantage of you, and you just need to have the job. Like you just have to suck it up. You know, that's not a position Hassan's ever been in. So
that was it. And then you went up to work for your fucking uncle because you're a Nepo baby. Most of these people have never had to do difficult
Nepo
jobs.
baby.
And the ones who do generally don't find this shit hard. Asmongold did a 1 hour and a half video on this topic. I cut it down a little bit to some more important parts.
Go ahead.
And we'll take a look.
Obviously, being a streamer is not very taxing physically. It's clearly not. And I think for a lot of
just my back when my chair hurts my butt. Bro, you know what's so funny though? When I worked a real job, I remember I bent over once to pick up a bucket and I just threw my back out. There was nothing inside of the bucket. I just threw my back out. Isn't that crazy? I'm old, man. I just get fucked up from doing nothing. It's insane, honestly. It's crazy.
people, it's not very taxing mentally either. I think streaming is a great job, and I would rather stream than have any other job in the world. There are obviously negatives that exist with streaming, but those negatives don't outweigh the positives. The big difference is the monetary difference between other jobs and being a streamer. Being paid a lot of money doesn't make problems go away. Being paid a
Makes most of your problems go away.
lot of money makes it easier to deal with problems. There's actually studies that have been done on this, and I can
There's study. Yeah, there's studies been done on this. There's a diminishing returns on like the amount of money that you could generally make, where it makes you like happy, right? So there, I think the last time I looked at it was like, oh, your household makes like $75,000 in New York, which is way too little. Like it's in for New York, but anyway, yeah. Once all your needs are met and everything, like yeah, for sure, that's generally true. But let me tell you something. I'll guarantee you that I would be happier if I made $1 million a year versus if I made $150,000 a year. Okay, because then I could go and do Disney all the fucking time. You get a badass car. All right. So shut up.
show you the graph. I'll do it now because I think people are going to disagree. Because for a lot of people, and this is really the reality here, is that I'm preaching to a very tough audience, arguing my point of view. Because for the majority of people that are watching me and disagreeing and getting angry, the biggest problem in their life is money. So for them, the idea that you can't, like, that money isn't the problem, well, this is going to very much upset them because they look at it from the perspective of like, well, if I had money, then this would totally solve all my problems. And I think
it would solve most of your problems, just so you know.
if you work at many jobs, that's absolutely true. And I want to show that with a graph. So let me go ahead and do that. These are some graphs right here that I can show. And these are studies that have been done over the years with a number of different people. And basically what you see happening is that, especially whenever you're reaching, you know, again, into this like leading up to like $200,000 a year, more money will absolutely make you more happy. Absolutely it will, 100%. But that does not necessarily mean that more money infinitely will just make you more and more happy. And
no, but you'll continue to get happy for the most part. For a good, like I imagine, what might retaliate losing health? That's interesting. I imagine, I'll continue to get happy. You know, up until like, hopefully I make this, but it's like that $250,000 a year. Then I'll be, you know, what else am I going to do from there? 200. At that point, I get it. But like, you know what I mean? Like, more money is going to make you much happier. Get out of here.
And that's the perspective that I'm making. That's the point that I'm making.
That's the point I was making too. That's why you should turn your stream off.
Yeah, turn off.
You make millions.
That's true. I mean, you might make less money streaming less, although I doubt it in the long run. But I mean, yeah, who cares, right? Because then you make enough money, you'll be happier. I honestly think that if you cut your stream down in half to like 4 hours instead of 8, and well, you know, for us poor people, we have more things that, not poor people, but I have to focus on my own editing and stuff, which I enjoy doing. I'm kind of like I'm like a little bit like, it's hard for me to like hire an editor. I'm just like very like, oh, I want this done this way. But stream less, focus on your mental health. You know, like I'd say at least a third of my time is spent offline working. Like I got up today and then I worked from probably like 10 to maybe like 12:30. Nothing crazy. Or no, it was like 9 to 11. Make a wish. Sorry, just kidding. That's insensitive. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then I came on stream, and then you know what I mean. And I worked like last night too. Like I think I work more than I realized, but I get to make my own schedule, so it's like this. It's not really intrusive. For you guys, it's like, oh, I have to work from 9 to 5 and do this. For me, it's like, okay, I came in, I worked for like 2 hours last night, then I worked for 2 hours this morning, then I'm going to stream for maybe 3 hours, then I'm going to get off, and I'm going to work for another couple hours, and I get to do whatever the fuck I want. You know, but that's what I'd say. If you want to be if you're a new streamer or you're somebody who's trying to get out there, like you need to focus on like advertising time. You need to focus on shit like that.
At 200K, you'd be just as happy or close to it. Turn your stream off after 5 hours.
True.
That's the point I'm making.
And again, I think it would make more money.
To do that. See that graph? Everyone else lives on the bottom of that curve where it's fucking dog.
That's the thing too, though, is that a lot of these people, that's not even all work to them, right? Like for them, and I don't like doing this. This is why I don't do it. They like playing video games in their off time. So they just play video games on their stream. And like, yes, you have to put a little bit of a presentation on for people and be a little bit more active for people and pay attention to them. But you're basically just doing your hobby for the stream. And then you're hiring people to clip and edit and put everything up anyway. So your job isn't even really like a job at that point. Like for like realistically speaking, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's silly.
They have complete financial insecurity. They don't know if they'll
What did I say? What are you guys talking about?
ever be able to afford a house, be able to send their kids to college, be able to take vacations, be able to pay college and pay off their debt. That's where most people live. You live in the upper bracket where infinity is not in existence, but you're going to continuously be happier. marginally with time, but still happier. So why don't you just turn off your stream and then stop dealing with all the extra stress that you're self-imposing?
If 9 hours of stuff, do half. If half of that is stuff, you're still going to be good.
Yes.
That's exactly what.
And I know there's gonna be people, well, you're not going to be as popular. That's not true, okay? There's plenty of streamers who take months off and they're fine. I know this. As a content creator, I take months off.
Yeah, and like, listen, I would generally say that taking months off for like the average person is going to be bad for you. For bigger people, it's not really going to be as big of a deal because more people are waiting. But we're not even talking about taking months off at a time. We're talking about like streaming less, which is going to increase your entertainment value per stream, and focusing more on like getting people to watch you through TikTok, like through clip content and like video content, which pays you anyway.
I think I took 2 weeks off in February. The year before, I took a month off in like September, and then I took another month off.
And I do that too. My wife and I go on like mini vacations fairly often because it's like, what's the point of having all the money if I'm not going to use it? Like, I don't have all the money. I don't have that much. Hopefully by the end of the year, baby. But what's the point of making the money if you're not going to enjoy yourself as like a streamer? Like I went on vacation and I had backlog, so I didn't have to do any work, or I'll work while I'm on vacation. Like, recording a video, it's not a big deal.
I think in May. I took 2 months off out of the year. Why? Because I can afford to. Why? Because I know, all right, if I keep doing this work, it's not going to be that great. So I'm going to be responsible. And because this job affords me the privilege of choosing my hours and stopping and going whenever I want, I can. And guess what? My audience is amazing. They come back. They appreciate it. They're like, yo, if you post me there, and if you don't, take care of yourself. I respect that.
So were you saying that you're taking a break before it becomes taxing and unbearable?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your focus on your mental health. I don't think that anybody typically puts that as part of their equation. It's like, oh, my mental health is suffering a little bit. Let me take off. And if you're getting a lot of hate, like, take off a little bit and chill a little bit. Or if you just want to, like, if you're just burning out a little bit, take off for a little bit. Like, whatever.
And you know what? I can.
Your life is a bucket, guys. Shut up. Stop. It was a bad joke, dude. Fuck. Anyway, your life is a bucket, guys, and you don't want to overload that bucket with stress, okay? So increase the size of the holes in your bucket so the stress leaks out. You understand what that means? I don't. I do. It's a bucket theory. It's a good idea.
I could never do that at my old jobs.
Nope.
Yes. So I would never compare.
No. Oh, they're gonna ask questions.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna be on sick leave, and they're gonna ask questions. Yeah. That's only what did your doctor say?
Money is such a big problem in their life that whenever they hear anybody say anything that is even adjacent to money isn't a problem, it immediately, and I'm not trying to be mean, but it unironically triggers them. And so they stop.
Yeah, I like this argument from Asmongold because it's just, you got triggered. You just got triggered. Like, you're just triggered. What he's saying here is when somebody tells you that you're triggered, they're saying that you're too sensitive. Like, you're emotionally provoked. You're too sensitive. That's the implication there. Asmongold's just telling you that you're too sensitive. He's the one that's too sensitive. He has an entire 2-hour-long video cope because of how sensitive he feels about the fact that people are criticizing him. That's it. Nobody would have cared if Hassan just said, oh, streaming drains your social battery. Nobody would have cared. He felt the need to compare it to a real job because he wants to be that guy that's really relatable. That, oh, hey guys, I'm relatable. This is hey, I'm just working like you. But he knows that he looks stupid. That's why he's like, well, it's not quite the same. But he wants you to think it is. He doesn't have any real job experience.
About what's actually being said, and they start arguing against something that they've heard before. They get emotional about it. And I understand that. I've been in that position myself. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I ever said. Yeah. And I don't think that that's really what Hassan was trying to say, because he was really talking about, and also, I don't because I've watched Hassan for years. I've known Hassan. I've talked to Hassan. I don't think that's really what he thinks. Now, maybe he should have said it in a way that was better, but I don't think that he thinks that. So, we can talk about the way that he communicated that, and if it could have been communicated in a better way, sure. But I'm talking about, what the intent was behind the communication. These guys are right. I mean, they're right. That, yeah,
the intent was to complain, and he complained, and people pushed him back against him because he was fucking trying to sound relatable, and he's not.
He did say that. I think that it was very clear in my mind that wasn't what he intended. So
I can only go on what he said. I cannot go on what you think he said. I don't know that. I can just go about what he actually said, and what he actually said.
It's funny when this is one of the most triggering things to Hassan is when people take this thing out of it's funny. It's funny because he's so upset about it. Why don't you just stop caring and move on? But he's really, the reason that this is blown up is because he keeps talking about it.
Said was garbaggio. That's it, and it's okay. It doesn't make you. You said that was a dumb take. Move on. You think that's not what he said or this and that? How am I supposed to know?
People didn't take him out of context. He just misspeaks.
That's the difference.
Those two things are not the same.
Thank you.
If you're over here I don't really like black people, and then people are like, whoa, what the fuck? And you're like, no, the context was growing up, there's a lot of people who happen to be black who hurt me, and I didn't like those people.
That's not the.
Well, it's still pretty bad. I feel like both those are bad, but okay.
Same thing.
I guess I get it though.
Well, bitch, use the right words. That's your
not what I
problem.
said.
Don't get mad at people because you can't communicate or rate yourself properly.
If you're saying shit is out of context, but the rest of the context is in your head, it's not out of context. It's in your head.
You know, there's what people mean, there's what
That's
people
not context.
feel, and there's what people actually say. And you said some really dumb shit. Not you specifically, but Hassan did. And then you came out and defended it very ardently based off what you thought he meant. Nobody's trying to hear that shit.
Yeah.
And I know Asmongold knows this because a while back he was telling game developers, I don't care how hard it is. Nobody's trying
Totally fucking true. Absolutely 100 fucking percent.
I don't know. I was just watching it at increased speed.
Hassan did. And then you came out and defended it very ardently based off what you thought he meant. Which is, nobody's trying to hear that shit.
Yeah.
And I know Asmongold knows this because a while back he was telling game developers, I don't care how hard it is. Nobody's trying.
Totally fucking true. Absolutely 100 fucking percent true. And I said that with screaming. Absolutely. Nobody gives a fuck how you feel. And it's the same thing. Like, so you can make, and this might seem like a bit of whiplash because I'm talking about like two separate things, right?
Oh, I remember the point that I was talking about. It was a really dumb point that he had made. It was so dumb. Okay, I remember the point that Asmongold had made that like annoyed the shit out of me. He compared when he was on his, because I watched a little bit of his stream when he was talking about this, like not the video itself. He made this point that, oh, he thinks that people just don't like hearing anybody complain. And it's not just like a Hassan thing, and like that's why Hassan's getting blowback. But that's not really the case. And then he said, like, yeah, like if you go to get, I think your haircut or something, he said, and the person's complaining, like you're not going to want to hear him talk, or if you see a cashier complaining, you're not going to want to hear them talk. And while that might be kind of true that you don't want to necessarily hear them complain, it's not the same thing as what's going on with Hassan. If I heard a cashier complaining about their tough day, I might be like, oh, you know, I don't want to hear it. But I'll listen because they probably did have a tough day. Whereas if I hear fucking Hassan talking about he have a tough day, I don't give a shit because you're a rich entitled streamer and you could just change your workflow and you decide not to. The cashier, the barber, everybody else can't just change their workflow. So it was just so stupid that it's like you have the tools to change your job and actually make it more comfortable as a streamer. But people that work like other jobs don't have that opportunity. So what you're saying is just dumb.
I don't know what that kid.
What the hell?
Right? So like I can talk about like the ethical world that I think is best and that I try to live by in the cases that I can, which is trying to listen and understand how other people feel and trying to like basically compromise with people by understanding them and taking them at face value and trying to empathize with what people's perspective is. I think this is a good thing. Back over here in reality, outside of my own ethical utopia, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. This is hypocrisy.
I'm here, make the fucking games.
Xavier's tweet was well-intentioned, and he went on to add a lot of important.
He made a lot of very good points.
But I think it misses the perspective of the consumer.
I literally said that. And this is the thing: is developers need to stop. Like nobody gives a fuck. Oh, it's so hard. Shut the fuck up, pussy. Stop.
I mean, I feel like generally speaking, people probably do care if something is hard. I don't know what the exact thing he's talking about. I think he's referring to like AAA game studios complaining about how hard it is. Of course, nobody's going to care about them. Guess what? Because they're rich. But if a small indie studio said, hey guys, this is a little hard, we need some time, everybody would be fine with it. That's why Pal World, that has like a smaller studio, people are very patient with their updates because they know it's a small studio and they're willing to wait and be patient. His logic doesn't even make sense. And if anything, it just supports what everybody else is saying. Like, when it comes to the AAA studios with millions and millions and billions of dollars, nobody cares about how hard their job is because you're a fucking AAA studio. But when it comes to the smaller studios that are really just trying to break in, people do care, and they're like, oh yeah, I get it, take your time. But nobody cares when fucking when Blizzard complains about their fucking, like, oh, this is difficult. I don't care. Like, you make so much money.
Crying. Yeah. We don't do it, or you know, holy just nobody cares about, oh, it's so hard. Oh, well, this is you're talking to people that work in construction, and you're going to say that it's hard? Your job could be more demanding than that. I don't know. But guess
I mean, like, construction versus, like, some kind of like, development is a little... Like, I mean, construction workers physically work harder, but, like, I wouldn't sit there and diminish somebody who's sitting down and actually, like, programming for 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's just a different type of tough. There's a difference between comparing, like, a software... I don't know, some kind of a software, a programmer, which is still a tough job. That's not necessarily going to make you like rich versus like a construction worker. The one is physically demanding and the other one's like, I don't know, mentally demanding because, you know, whatever. Obviously, construction, I would say, is harder, but like I wouldn't feel the need to compare those, but a streamer is different.
Guess what? To them, it's not.
But now it's you guys like, oh, you expect sympathy for what reason?
No, I don't expect it at all, and I know that I won't get it. No, he's totally right. This is a complete contradiction of what I'm saying, and that's what I was talking about before, with like how I think things should be versus how I think things are. And like in my opinion, I find it to be problematic that people think that way, but I also know that that's true.
Which that's
bro, listening to Asmongold talk is like actually kind of I don't know, man. You know, I'm not gonna base my entire feelings of Asmongold off of this one controversy. But bro, he's coping so hard.
Not even being good faith. And I mean, you can see that way. I think that's being incredibly charitable to someone that you have close ties to, because I've seen you not be as charitable to game devs, for example, or to other streamers who've complained who you may not be friends with. So,
oh, that's probably fair. Yeah, he wants to suckle on the Hasan.
to me, it's interesting that you extend this much charitability to Hasan, but like you said yourself, you have a very good relationship with him, or a strong one, and so that's why.
It's really not the same on so many levels, but anyways, I think we are saying the same thing as Asmongold. It's just that, well, no, Asmongold's saying the same thing as us. The difference is just that he's saying that, well, he can read minds, and I can't.
Oh, he knows Hasan, so I think he knows how he communicates.
So he can read his mind.
Yeah, true.
Sure. Well, you just under.
Interesting, because I feel like anybody who gets to know Hasan would realize he's a piece of shit. So I don't really know. It seems a little weird to me because I really just don't have any charitability left for that person. He's just such a dumb fucking asshole, you know.
Understands them better. He can interpret things better because you understand somebody. It's
When
like
your
when you have a
name-
child.
when
It's like when you have a child. You know, when you have a child and your child goes, woo, woo. So
Yeah, you want some pears and napkins, and then you want to take a nap, and
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that you want to
yeah,
take a 2-hour walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. What the fuck?
His son's his baby boy.
No, but I like the idea of him reading minds because Asmongold sounds like a wizard name.
You know what's funny?
Okay.
What's funny?
He made his career playing World of Warcraft.
See?
Oh, and not showering. I think that's part of it too.
Not crazy.
No, like
That's
that.
a wizard. This motherfucker
All these $2 steaks poison his mind. Yeah, for sure, man.
is like a paladin or as another sorcerer or some shit like that.
Yeah.
A necromancer.
I believe. Whoa, a necromancer, or did you say something else? I think Asmongold plays a warrior.
I'm just flashing
Did you
shit.
say Negromancer?
Negromancer. Hey, what up, my dead people? What's up? Rise up!
Oh my god.
New York, LA, Philly, Chicago. Everybody rise! That's Negromancer.
I can just see that. You see the dude just bobbing in a cemetery.
Used to work in a sweatshop in Hong Kong. That's rough. That's definitely true and definitely rough. Holy shit.
And then Undead just popping up. Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
New York, Miami, Frisco.
That'd be a crazy class for like some kind of voodoo undead necromancer.
Everybody right, Negromancer.
Yeah. Papa, what's his name?
Papa Leg Bob.
Stop saying the word. It's gonna get into my vernacular. I'm gonna cry.
No. Baron Samedi.
Also, I mean, especially like
I've seen some comments saying that you are too Hassan brand recently. Do you think you're judging unfairly? No, of course not. I don't think so at all. I think that I'm judging perfectly fairly and fine. I think that they just see some videos sometimes and they like Hasan, and I probably do a little less qualifying in my videos now than I used to, because like, what am I supposed to do? Sit here and rehash all like the annoying things about Hasan? He's an entitled, disconnected streamer that's constantly complaining about dumb shit, and he's a lol cow. People, that's it, you know. And I don't like the way that he treated Ethan. I think that was shitty. So like, what charitability am I supposed to have left? Oh yeah, like he treated his friend like shit, letting his entire fan base harass the shit out of him. Why do I need to like care or be empathetic? Like, it's just stupid. People are just gonna complain about something because they don't know what they're upset that I'm criticizing Hasan, and they're stupid Hasan fans. And that's all they got. I think that for them, what's going on with those people is that there's probably some people who like constantly dunk on Hasan, let's say, that they engage with, that they watch. Right? That's probably what's going on. And so they just put me in the same camp, I guess. And that's pretty much it. Now they're just like, oh, Papa Gut's just another hater. It's like, no, I'm reasonably criticizing him. You probably watch some dumbass fucking people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about just constantly complain. But that's not me, right? So that's probably what it is more than anything else. They're just camping the situation. So I don't know.
Media, right? Like you
can criticize me, but I've never seen anybody actually make an argument other than like, oh, you're just anti-Hasan. Like, you can stop by the stream and talk to me about it, I guess, if you think I'm really anti-Hasan.
To be posting all the time.
Or like unjustifiably anti-Hasan. I am pretty anti-Hasan.
And of course you can take time off. Absolutely. But there is a risk to taking that time off. And I'm not saying that it's not a privilege to be able to do that, but what I am saying is that it doesn't come with a cost.
Turn it off after 5, but because they want to make more money, they keep streaming. And then they want to get up here and then complain about how hard it is. Who here gets to choose their fucking hours at work?
Not a lot of people.
The fact that you guys even have the goal to compare yourselves to regular people when your extra hours of labor are rewarded with more and more money is insane.
Well, I think most people get paid overtime, to be fair.
Holy fuck, Asmongold, so dumb. Thank you so much for the $2. Clifton the Colored Milkman. It's okay, Bob. I'll give you the pass. Thank you so much. Let me use that. There is a difference between getting offered overtime, versus having the ability to set your own hours 100,000% as a rich streamer. Like, yeah, sometimes people might get overtime on their job that is objectively more difficult. But that's the difference between you just deciding to work more or less on a whim because you have complete control over yourself. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody is working extra and you're not being paid for that, you're not getting paid overtime. Not salary? Oh, yeah, that's definitely true.
What the fuck is he talking about?
But if you're being paid hourly, you do get paid extra.
No. Especially not if you got a salary.
When you have a job,
when you do salary, technically you're supposed to still get paid overtime. But yeah, sure.
Things that don't fit your description, that's overtime. It's overtime. You're not working overtime. You're just compressing more work within that time.
So you brought up the salary stuff. Yeah, salary's a thing. Most people who work salaries sometimes have to work 12-hour days and they just don't have a choice. It's just part of the game, okay? That is a thing for some people.
It's just not even the same conversation. I mean, what we're talking about here is like, hey, you get to set your own hours, Asmongold. And he's like, no, but you can do overtime. It's like, okay, that's not a response to what we're talking about here. Who cares if you could do overtime? What does that fucking matter? Like, it doesn't. You can set your own schedule, and then you get to do workarounds, and, like, you're building your brand. You can build your brand around that schedule. Like, you know, oh, you guys, I'm going to start streaming 12 to 5 every day instead of whenever the fuck I want. Oh, okay, and then I'm going to plug clips that'll make sure that you're aware of that, and then you'll show up, and then I'm going to do video segments so that you can see stuff if you can't show up at that time. Or you might just want to watch that instead, or, you know, whatever. You have all these different metrics and different ways to keep your awareness going. It's just silly.
Even at hourly jobs. You know one of the most infuriating things? Is that you can't even clock it in as overtime. But sometimes your boss is like, yo, can you handle this just before you leave? And you know that fucking work takes a good 30 minutes, but it's 10 minutes to close. So you say no to your boss, but how do you think that shit? It be little things like that. When you've had a long fucking day, but you don't have a choice to opt out. You as content creators always have control over your lives in that regards when it comes to work. When you are working hourly, there's so many little things that happen just as you're about to leave work that make you stay. I even stay 5 minutes beyond, be pissing me the fuck off because you're not getting paid for that time.
5 minutes is never 5 minutes.
Yes,
first.
First,
not at work. Can you do this shit?
I've never dealt with that because I worked like my union job, and then the other odd jobs I did, like specifically I did resets for a while. They would let us leave early sometimes, but they legally can't let you stay late. Like, they'd let us leave early, but we would get clocked in for it. Like, we would still get paid for it, but they can't make you stay late and without paying you for it. And when they would be like, no, can we guys stay a little more today? We would just say, no, like, you can't legally do that. But we're also in New York and we have like a stronger, everything. So
it's gonna take only 5 minutes. Fuck you. Yeah. And never that. The second thing, what I hate the most is whenever you do overtime, is you have to proceed to do overtime mathematics. Yeah. Because at some point, it happened to me when I was on the phone. You do overtime for a certain amount of time because you increase your tax bracket, you end up with less money than if
this is objectively incorrect.
You hadn't had done overtime.
Because
that's not ever going to happen, just to be clear.
Overtime is taxed at a different rate.
Oh my God.
Pisses you off, so you're already losing money.
No, the overtime's not taxed at a different rate. What are you talking about? Let me look this up. Maybe I'm just wrong about that. I'll explain why I'm... Is it taxed at a different rate? Let's see. No, it doesn't get taxed at a different rate. I knew that. Overtime doesn't get taxed at different than regular wages. Okay, so let me just explain really quick what's happening here. Like, we exist in a world of marginal tax rates. Okay. That means that, like, the more money you make, you're never going to get less money. It's just impossible for it to happen in the long term of like a year. Okay, so this, generally speaking, this is how it works. This isn't the exact tax rate. I'm not going to go look it up. But, like, let's say the first $10,000 you make, you'll get taxed at like 5%. The next 10,000 you'll get taxed at like 10%. So, like, the first 10,000 you got 5% of that. The next 10,000 is 10%, and then et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. Let's look in Canada because I live in Canada. No, it's still the same thing. Somehow I spelled tax wrong. Okay, it gets paid the exact same way as regular pay. It doesn't matter that they're Canadian. None of what they're saying is true. What ends up happening, it's not true for them. What ends up happening, though, is when you get paid more on your overtime. This doesn't depend on any province. Shut the fuck up. When you... Sorry. I don't know why I'm getting triggered. When you get paid more money, the way that they calculate the taxes that they take money for is, generally speaking, your check times 52, and then they're going to go, oh, you're going to pay taxes based on the amount of money this would be if it was 52 weeks out of the year, right? If that makes sense. So like, let's say you get like $1,000 a week of every check. You're going to get taxed based off of making $52,000 in the year. But if you get enough overtime to make $1,500, they're going to boost that up as if you made like $75,000 a year. So it might seem like they're taking a lot more proportionately out. But at the end of the day, like you're not losing. At the end of the year when you do your taxes, you're not going to actually you'll be taxed more, but you'll never get taxed less. Right? Like you'll get taxed more than you usually do. You might, some of that money might go into the next tax bracket, but it's not going to be less per paycheck because of the way that like marginal taxes work. Okay? There you go. Yeah. So like you might but when you file for your return, you might end up getting a little more money back. If that makes sense.
Like I've had sales jobs, I've had military, I've had government, I've had it all. Okay.
No, you don't. You don't lose money for moving overtime. You're just wrong. What are you talking about? You did payroll for 3 years and you don't know this. What are you talking about? You don't like. You get taxed at a higher tax bracket rate, but you're not going to like lose money. Like your check's still going to be more money. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, you might have moved into a new tax bracket, but like like when you move into a tax bracket, it doesn't tax your old money that you made before that. Like if you go from the 50,000 to the 70,000 tax bracket, that first 50,000 is unaffected by the next 20,000. So if the first 50,000 was taxed at like 10%, the next 20,000 might be taxed at 30%, but it's only the next 20,000 taxed at that 30%. Okay? Shut up.
It fucking blows. Yeah. Like you don't get compensated the same way. Like you guys get a flat rate no matter how many hours. Everything is incrementally more money. That's not the case for regular people.
Yes, it is. What are you talking about? Okay. You make millions. They make millions of dollars, so it's like whatever. But like you get taxed more. What are you talking about? You have to pay more taxes everybody has to pay taxes. Why am I this is ridiculous.
So they're actually rewarded less for spending more time at work. What's more, you work from home. What are the greatest
Am I just like mishearing? Well, I don't understand. Like we just don't understand taxes or something.
You don't get compensated the same way. Like you guys get a flat rate no matter how many hours. Everything is incrementally more money. That's not the case for regular people. So they're actually rewarded less for spending more time at work. What's more, you work from home. What are the greatest privileges that you guys have?
That is true. I have like zero travel time.
Is you don't have to deal with long commutes like everyone else. Do you know how many people are literally dying? They are dying.
Bro, you've never worked more overtime and your check has been less than it normally was. That's just like literally never going to happen. It's just not going to happen, bro. You're not going to get less money. That's just not how tax brackets work. That's just not how tax brackets work. I've gotten overtime too. I used to work overtime all the time. It's not how tax brackets work. You might lose more of a percentage of money because you went to a new tax bracket, but you didn't make less money overall. Like what you're saying is this is impossible. That is not how the tax system works. Thank you so much for the $5, Randy Orton. I got triggered when Jinder Mahal defeated me and took my WWE Championship in Backlash 2017. Thank you. Thank you so much for the 9 months small gut from Bing and Bong. Bing Bong, shut up. Incredible stuff. No, it didn't happen, dude. You're wrong. I was there. You're a liar. I'm just telling you that you're lying. You're just incorrect. I'm angry about this. Yeah, because I know I'm right. I understand how tax brackets work. Come on, dude. Stop. You're right. I'm taking chat too. I'm getting sunlight. Moving on. I'm Hassaning.
To and from work because they have 1 to 2 hour commutes. It's not my opinion either. I'll put up the graphs and the studies, but it is actually super nefarious for people's health and their mental health to have to do those long commutes. So all those little details play into the fact that people look at your job and...
Why, you don't enjoy driving an hour every day?
At the end of the day, this is what...
No, it's not. Canadian doesn't change anything. I literally looked it up and showed it on the screen.
It is with streaming. You can frame it however you want. You can say it's hard. People are going to hear streaming and say, you get paid to play video games. What people do as a hobby, you get paid to do.
That's true.
And they get paid millions, more than doctors, engineers, pilots, government, congressmen. They get paid more to play video.
Now,
well, the congressmen, too, they seem to have like insider understandings of the tax system. Pretty fucked up.
This is, in my opinion, I understand it, but I, to be honest with you, I really don't respect it. I'm sorry, but I don't respect feeling that way because it's an emotional perspective that's selfish. And I think that anybody out in the world has a right to own their own problems, and nobody else in the world has the right to take that away from them. And I really dislike this idea that because some person has it bad, they try to go out of their way to invalidate other people who have other problems that they deem less important. I think this is an incredibly toxic way of talking. It's an incredibly toxic way of looking at the world.
I'll say,
damn, toxic, dude. This is toxic masculinity, dude.
Look, we don't have the right to take it away from you, but we do have the right to tell you shut the fuck up because we ain't trying to hear that shit. Yeah. We have the right. The same way you can voice it, we can tell you to shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Let's say I have a stream and I'm complaining because my child has gastro. And I'm like, it's really frustrating that my child has gastro. It's really difficult to have to
Gastro? We got diarrhea?
which it is, right? Like, your child being sick is not the greatest feeling. And your viewers are all people who lost their children in a recent war. Is it okay for me to be like, I don't give a fuck about the fact that your kid got gastro? When all your viewers are all... is that...
But that's not even what's happening. Nobody is criticizing Hassan because he's frustrated that... because he's frustrated because his social battery worn out. Nobody cares. Nobody's sitting here criticizing him for that. It's specifically because he compared it to a regular job, because he feels the need to try to be relatable. That's the only reason he's getting criticized.
Okay.
You're no kids.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't care about you.
And also, like, who likes Hassan? Am I right? No, but seriously, like, that's what it is. He's a popular figure that's comparing himself and the difficulty of his job to like a regular person's job.
Isn't it insensitive of you to be complaining about your gastro kid when everybody else lost their children, like, permanently? Is it okay to say, like, I don't really get it?
I don't even know. This argument's just weird.
Fuck.
I think it's okay.
I think this is similar.
But it's okay.
It's not similar at all. Nobody, if your kid was like sick and you're like, oh man, my kid is sick, nobody is gonna be like, oh fuck you, my kid's dead. Like, I mean, nobody's gonna actually think that that's a good argument. It has everything to do with the fact that he's comparing himself to regular people when he's not a regular person who has full control over his problems. Like, if you complained because you ended up like having a hard day at work, you didn't get to choose to have an easier day. Hassan can choose to work less, and he just doesn't. That's what the criticism is.
I'm multi-millionaire with all the options and financial flexibility, time flexibility in the world, complaining about the fact that their work is a tyrant to people who mostly have to work shit-end jobs.
And I really dislike this idea that because some person has it bad, they try to go out of their way to invalidate other people who have other problems that they deem less important.
My God, he's turning into a fucking liberal.
I think this is an incredibly toxic way of talking. It's an incredibly toxic way of looking at the world. And at the end of the day, I think that we're all very privileged in a lot of cases. That's why we're sitting on here with high-speed internet, probably in most of the cases, air-conditioned houses in a first-world country in many cases as well, according to my analytics, having conversations about this kind of stuff. We are all incredibly privileged, at least according to many other people in the world. I think
that's probably true. But I think you're substantially more privileged.
This is the case with everybody's job. And you see this all the time on the internet.
Because you're well compensated, extremely well compensated for the level of difficulty of your job. And this is how most people internalize this and whether or not they want to hear about your suffering. How difficult is your job? How well do you get compensated for it? If your job is extremely difficult and hard to manage, but you get paid peanuts, complain as you want. That's
sometimes how it works too, because some of the hardest jobs are generally like menial labor, like lower skilled labor jobs. So like your restaurant jobs, your fast food jobs. I think that those are more difficult, but like it's a low skill job. So anybody has it's easier to be able to have the skills required to do it. So you're typically going to not get paid as well.
I don't think so. I think that actually I don't agree with that, because if you look at, for example, like culturally, I think that culturally people definitely look down on construction workers. They look down on sanitation workers.
What the fuck are you? This guy's, I have to be absolutely real with you. This guy is a fucking completely out of his mind. Like, maybe this is unique to me, but nobody looks down on fucking construction workers or sanitation workers. Sanitation workers get paid well. I've never once in my life looked at a fucking sanitation worker and gone, ha, loser. I'm like, oh, I want his job because they get paid like $80K a year. What are you talking about? Am I wrong about this? Do people look down on sanitation and construction workers? There's no fucking way. I just don't even believe that. I don't think you could actually convince me otherwise. There's no way people look down on construction workers and sanitation workers. What the fuck? Am I just dumb? Am I wrong about this? Like, I've seen the memes before where it's like, you don't want to end up like them. But I mean, that's like old as shit. That's like dumb boomers. What? Am I dumb as shit? I have to be like fucking, I have to be like, there's no way. I have to be right. Am I wrong? Chat, am I wrong? Children do. I doubt that. No way. There's no way that we culturally have a problem with construction workers and fucking sanitation workers. Especially since they're the mafia. Okay.
Absolutely, that's...
Not to be pedantic, but they are looked in some Scandinavian EU countries, but I could be wrong. Okay, well, I don't live in those fucking loser countries. Okay, I live in the greatest country in the world, America, baby. So fuck that.
True.
Sus people do. I just don't think so. I don't think the average person, and maybe I'm just wrong, I don't think the average person looks down on construction workers and sanitation workers. I just disagree with that.
And they get paid shit.
Who the fuck gets paid shit?
He doesn't know.
No. Who the fuck? Construction workers get paid shit?
They definitely don't get paid shit.
They also get paid pretty well, construction workers. Although it's a grueling job. Same thing with sanitation, at least in my experience, from what I'm understanding.
But he just might not know. So if we're being charitable, he would have just chosen another job that doesn't get paid well. He just doesn't know. But they definitely don't
Like a teacher. How about a teacher?
get paid well. You should.
Depends on the teacher.
To be fair, I
Whoa! Stop.
didn't know this, but a lot of garbage men are apparently paid really well.
Yeah, better than teachers.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, listen. It's not too many people willing to pick up garbage for a living, so I'm in.
Well, not a lot of people are willing to teach kids. Anyways, carry on.
There's a lot of people willing to teach
A
kids.
lot.
Yeah, a lot of pedophiles want to teach kids. They want to teach them the wrong things, unfortunately.
Less.
Today, but there's still way more people who
People that
want
wanna
to
be-
teach kids.
Concur.
I don't care what nobody says. Try dating a girl, be like, I'm a garbage man. God bless your soul. You know what? I don't even think garbage men tell the truth about what they do for work when
can
they date.
understand.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can say that because there's
Yeah, they would if they're dating a girl. Yeah, I'm a garbage man. I make like $80,000 a year. Oh, okay, great. I think women will care more about that. Maybe I'm wrong. What did I just get? Fuck.
no way socially. That's
Every
what I'm
garbage man says they're the driver.
saying. Yeah.
I'm not in the.
Plus, you're expected to tip your garbage man at the end of the year, which is fucking ridiculous to me. I have no problem tipping the postal worker, but the garbage man, you guys make too much money. Fuck you,
Back checking that shit. I'm driving that bitch. He's not. He's not.
So what do you think he would say when he's being asked? What do you do for work? What do they say?
I'm a supervisor of sanitation.
Yo, all the garbage men. I need to see y'all in the comments. I'm actually mad curious. What y'all say when y'all be on these dates?
I'm supervisor of sanitation. I work for the city, which you could.
My old job where I was just like I managed a bus cleaning crew. They wanted us to say that we were the lead bus appearance maintainers. Very professional title.
I work for the city.
I work for the city.
I work for the city.
Yeah.
Garbage men are stinky all the time. Who cares, dude? Fuck that.
Whenever you do a comedy show and people tell you I work for the city, what do? City, you're a cop.
Yes.
You're a cop or you pick up the garbage. Both.
All right. Nobody's trying to hear that shit.
Yeah.
And I know Asmongold knows this because a while back he was telling game developers, I don't care how hard your shit is. Nobody's trying
Totally fucking true. Absolutely.
Totally fucking true.
100% true. And I said that with streaming. Absolutely. Nobody gives a fuck how you feel. And it's the same.
That's just not true. That's just especially not true. People do care about how you feel. Especially when you're streaming. More when you're streaming, usually. Because you're a streamer. Hassan's own audience was probably sucking him off. And they still continue to double down on him. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry that you made $100,000 today, or fucking $5,000 in just this day alone. Oh God, that's so sad for you. Like this, of course, your audience. If anything, people care more about you as a streamer. Like it's a whole weird parasocial bond. What are you talking about?
Thing like so you can make and this might seem like a bit of whiplash because I'm talking about like two separate things, right? So like I can talk about like the ethical world that I think is best and that I try to live
He's been watching Hassan too much. I think that's the problem here, guys.
by in the cases that I can, which is trying to listen and understand how other people feel and trying to like basically compromise with people by understanding them and taking them at face value and trying to empathize with what people's perspective is. I think this is a good thing. Back over here in reality, outside of my own ethical utopia, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. This is hypocrisy.
I'm here, make the fucking games.
Xavier's tweet was well intentioned, and he went on to add a lot of
He made a lot of very good points.
But I think it misses the perspective of the consumer.
I literally said that. And this is the thing: is developers need to stop. Like nobody gives a fuck. Oh, it's so hard. Shut up.
I think Asmongold just I think he likes to pretend he doesn't care about people's feelings to be edgy. Like I don't even think he's genuine in that. I think that he just thinks it's cool and base to be like, oh, I don't care about how you're feeling. Sorry. I think that's all it really is. And now he's just getting this fucking he's looking hypocritical about this,
Up, pussy. Stop crying. You either do it or you don't. Holy just nobody cares about, it's so hard. Oh, well, this is true. You're talking to people that work in construction, and you're going to say that it's hard? Your job could be more demanding than that. I don't know. But guess what? To them, it's not.
But now when it's you guys, like, oh, you expect sympathy for what reason?
No, I don't expect it at all, and I know that I won't get it. No, he's totally right. This is a complete contradiction of what I'm saying, and that's what I was talking about before, with like how I think things should be versus how I think things are. And like in my opinion, I find it to be problematic that people think that way, but I also know that that's true.
Why are we watching this part twice? The fuck?
Does that make sense?
I think it would make sense if you weren't perpetuating that behavior. That's it. Have you been consistent on this point and shown really empathy to everybody? Great. But the moment you start pulling out this empathy card is when it's another streamer that you know personally, it just looks a little bit funny. That's it. But again, could be just optical. Listen, this is what I'll end up this whole conversation. Can YouTube or content creation be difficult? Yes.
I mean, it has its own challenges, sure, but it's pretty easy overall. Thank you so much for the $5 from...
Oh,
it's reading it! It's reading it!
$4.99. $4.99 from Clifton the Colored Milkman. Papa, how are you feeling, lil bro? Feeling a bit parasocial in my little ethical utopia.
You're so fucking stupid, bro. Shut up. That's funny. You're funny, bro. I'm feeling amazing, dude. I'm feeling perfect today.
But it's as
little socially drained, of course.
difficult as you make it. And there lies the whole crux of this whole topic. It's as difficult as you choose to make it. And if you want to ratchet up the difficulty to the ultimate percent to get the maximum amount reward, go right ahead.
I'll do this
Still
one.
cry about it afterwards because you're well compensated for it.
I'll do this one.
Content creation is not hard.
Oh,
It's many things.
I'm hard while
it could be time. Yep, go ahead.
Time consuming.
I'm jacked up right now,
Go
man.
into the comments. It can be time consuming living out here.
I mean, it can be time consuming, like a lot of like editing and waiting and stuff, at least in my experience. But it's not hard work. I'm sitting there and like just kind of waiting for shit to render a lot of the times.
It could rid you of a lot of your privacy.
Yeah.
True.
Fair.
Depending on how you manage it, but sometimes.
But again, like, you know, yeah,
no,
sure.
no, fair.
But it's just like the comparison to like a regular person's job in that way, which is annoying to people.
Yeah. Content creators, stop comparing.
If he had just said like, yeah, you know, it's a solvable problem, just stream less. If he was like, oh yeah, it kind of sucks. It's something that sucks about this job is that like, you know, your privacy isn't as well maintained when you're a streamer. Nobody would be shitting on him. But he had a solvable problem, so.
Get to regular jobs. You look stupid.
That's the bottom line.
Anything else?
No.
All right, guys, you can play my problems. Leave regular people out of it.
All right, no more Hassan. I'm bored. I'm bored of it. I'm done with it. That was more of Asmongold, though.